A common question I'm often asked is who can or can't volunteer. So the aim of this presentation is to look exactly who can volunteer and if any conditions apply. So hopefully you'll find it really helpful. There are no restrictions to children and young people volunteering. However, it's sensible to comply with local authority restrictions on paid employment for children and young people under the age of 13. They shouldn't volunteer before the close of school hours, for more than 2 hours on a school day, before 7 a.m. or after 7 p.m, and parental consent must be sought. The Charity Commission gives guidance on children and young people being on management committees. For unincorporated organisations, under 18s cannot be on a management committee, but for companies you can be on a management committee from the age of 16. Although the Charity Commission guides that the majority of committee members should be 18 or over, organisations can have a youth representation body that can feed ideas into the main management committee. You would also need to consider risk assessments. There are no restrictions on volunteers for people from European Union member countries. This also applies to countries in the European Economic Area. People often come on either work permit or visiting visa and want to get involved in something. However, with the UK planning to leave the EU, this may well change. People from outside these areas who have a visa to work or study in the UK may volunteer, as long as they are undertaking the activity stated in their visa and as long as their visa allows them to undertake unpaid work or volunteering. The Immigration, Asylum and Nationality Act 2006 makes it a criminal offence to employ a person who does not have the right to work in the UK. Because the rules relate to employment, they should not apply to taking on a genuine volunteer who are not working under a contract of employment. However, note that from the 2006 Act explains that a contract could be expressed or implied, i.e. oral or written. An organisation could take on a person for a genuine volunteer role. However, an individual could be in breach of their visa or entry conditions if he or she volunteers when not permitted to. It's good practice and very sensible to remind potential or new recruits to check where they're allowed to volunteer. Get in touch with the UK Border Agency or Home Office. We also have new guidance from the Home Office Right to Work checklist which we can email you if you wish. Do you involve ex-offenders? There's really no reason why you can't as long as you take appropriate measures, i.e. careful risk assessment, make sure the role's appropriate, possibly assign a mentor, maybe another volunteer who's been with you a while to support them. Under the Rehabilitation of Offenders Act 1974, there's quite some guidance around this, and we do have a fact sheet in case you wish to look at the implications of involving ex-offenders. Volunteering should not affect an individual's benefits, so long as it doesn't conflict with the reason they are receiving them, e.g. gardening with a bad back and trying to claim sickness benefit. There are some benefits which are non-means tested, such as PIP, but they have different conditions around volunteering. There's no 16-hour rule to volunteering. A customer can volunteer for as many hours as they wish as long as they can prove they are actively seeking and available for work. Obviously, if they're volunteering for 40 hours a week, then actively seeking work may be harder to prove. We would recommend that the volunteers would always contact their JCP or DWP advisor just to clarify they are allowed to volunteer. Expenses shouldn't affect benefits as long as you stick to the current JCP guidance, which is £2.50 a day for lunch. And you may need to clarify the situation less to the job centre just to clarify exactly what the volunteer's role is, as it's not replacing a paid member of staff. When involving paid staff as volunteers, they must only volunteer in a complementary role and have a separate task description and volunteer agreement for that role. It's completely inappropriate for somebody to do a full-time role but only be paid part-time and do the rest as a volunteer. Members of governing bodies should only be reimbursed a reasonable out-of-pocket expenses if the governing document of the organisation allows it. There are some circumstances whereby a member of the board has particular skills which could support the development of the organisation, i.e. if the organisation requires support from a solicitor, then provided this person who is a solicitor can give the best price quote, they may be engaged to carry out the role. They cannot be part of the selection process for allocating the work, as this is wholly inappropriate. Basically, you just need to be transparent and make it perfectly clear for anyone looking at the organisation what roles are undertaken by paid staff and what roles are undertaken by volunteers. The Volunteer Centre has a wide range of resources for those who manage volunteers. These range from sample documents, information sheets, we can give you links to online resources, and also potential networks that may help with your volunteer management, where you can connect with other people who manage volunteers. There's no such thing as a silly question when you're involving volunteers, and we're more than happy to help you if we can. Please do get in touch and we'll do our best to help. Here are our contact details, email, direct phone number, and also our Facebook and Twitter feeds. There's loads of information on our website, which is volunteeringcounts.org.uk, including details of our training. We do regular posts on our blog sharing information, ideas, events, and also have an opportunity of the day every single day for local volunteer involving groups. So why not get in touch and see how we can help you get the very best of your volunteer programme.